Hello everybody, welcome once again to another interesting video on verbal ability from CareerRide. Our topic for today is pronouns, and as all of you know, this is again a very important topic from the point of view of a placement test and entrance exams. Now see, what happens in entrance exams is they don't just try to understand whether you know the concepts of a topic or not. They actually try to test you, and they try to test whether you are able to apply whatever you have learnt or not. And for that purpose, they twist the questions. So the purpose of all our videos is to ensure that you should be able to apply whatever you have learned in the entrance exams. Okay, just make sure that you are sitting with a notepad and a pen so that you keep taking the notes along with me. Okay, the topic will become very easy. Don't worry at all. By the end of this video, you will be able to deal with the questions from this topic very easily. Okay, so the first thing to understand here is what actually are pronouns. And as all of you know, pronouns are the words that are used in place of nouns to avoid the repetition. We do not want to just keep calling out the noun every time when we write a sentence or when we speak. Okay, that is why we use pronouns. Okay, now these are the major 6 categories of pronouns. The first one is personal pronouns, which includes words like I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Okay, then you have relative pronouns, where we discuss who, whom, which, that, these type of words. Then you have reflexive pronouns, myself, himself, themselves. Distributive pronouns, each, either, neither. Then you have indefinite pronouns and reciprocal pronouns. These are the major 6 categories of pronouns that we need to understand and learn. Okay, we'll keep discussing each of these categories and we'll see how to solve the questions from each of these categories. But for now, just understand that these are the major 6 categories that we need to focus on. Okay, fantastic. So let's begin with these personal pronouns. Now these personal pronouns, as all of us know, these are the words that are used in place of a person's name. Okay, and to avoid the repetition of the name again and again, we use these personal pronouns, and they include words like I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Okay, and these personal pronouns, they can be first person, second person or third person. Now what do we mean by actually these first person, second person and third person? Okay, so for that, let us come to this picture that I have drawn for you. Suppose this is I and I am talking to you, and since I am talking to you, I become the first person, and I am talking to you, so you become the second person, right? So the person whom I'm talking to is the second person. This may be just one person, and or it may be a group of people. Okay, so this second person, it could be you or it could be a group of people, right? So in that case, I will be talking to all of the people in this group. Okay, and I'll be talking about maybe say somebody. So the person whom I'm talking about, the person whom we are discussing, they become the third person, right? I may be talking about just this one person, or I may be talking about this group of people. There may be many people here. So you see, the first person is the person who's talking. Okay, the second person here is the person to whom they are talking. Okay, and the third person is the person whom they are talking about. Okay, I hope this clarifies the difference between first person, second person and third person, and it will make the things easier for you. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. We'll see a table which is going to be very important for you to solve the questions from personal pronouns. Okay, now see, whenever we try to construct a sentence, it consists of a subject, verb and an object. These pronouns, they can be used as subjects also and objects also, but their forms change, and that is where the questions come from in the exams. Okay, so it is very important to understand the subjective form and the objective form of each of these pronouns. It is very easy. This table is going to make it even easier for you. Okay, so now in first person's case, right, first person is I am talking to you, we are talking to you, so I and we are the first person. You can easily understand that now. Okay, but whenever you try to make it into an objective case, it becomes me or us. Okay, Just see it for now. With the help of these examples, things will become clear to you. Don't worry. Okay. So I am talking to you. We are talking to you. In this case, I and we are what? They are subjects, right? Let's see this example. I love dogs. I is what? It is subject here. Dogs is what? Dogs is the object here, right? But if I say this sentence like this, dogs love me, what happens in this case? In this case, the subject becomes dogs and their action, love, is on me. Dogs love me, right? So what is me here? Me is now an object here, okay? So you see, the objective case of I is what? It is me, right? Similarly, we love children. We is what? It is subject here and children is the object. But if I say children love us, in that case, this is the subject and this becomes the object. So the objective form of we is what? It is us, and it is always used in a plural sense because we is plural, so its object is also plural, right? So that is why I have written this P here. P this here means plural, okay? Now coming to the second person, what happens in case of the second person? Second person is, it can be one person, it can be many people, right? So second person is you. We have seen this in the previous slide, right? The diagram that we saw, the picture that we saw, okay? Now when you try to convert it into object, it still remains you, okay? And it can be used in singular and plural, both the forms. Let's see this example. You love dogs, right? You love dogs. So this is the subject and this is the object here. But now if I reverse it and I say dogs love you, right? So this becomes the subject and this becomes the object, while love here is the verb. So dogs love you. So the object form of objective case of you is you in both the singular and plural form, right? Similarly for the third person, he, she, it, they. This is how we refer to the third person in the subjective case, right? But when we try to convert into the object, it becomes him, her, it, them. Them is always in the plural form, right? Because we are talking about many people here, okay? Let's see these examples. He or she likes me. He or she is what? It's a subject here. Likes is the verb here and me is the object here. Object of what? Object of I. Objective case of I. The first person we saw. You can see the first row of the table. Objective case of I is me. And that is what we are using in this example. She likes me. Now see this sentence. I like him. In this sentence, I is the subject and him or her, this is the object, right? While like is a verb here. So I like him, the object of second person, sorry, the third person is him or her, right? It won't work means it is the subject here. But when I try to say Mason can fix it, Mason becomes the subject here, right? Mason can fix it. So it becomes it. It is the object. So you see, for it, its objective form is also it, right? They took the bus. So this is the subject. I came with them. Them is the what? It is the object. So you see, the object of they is them. You can just pause the video here and take a good look at this table, because this table is important. It is not difficult at all. You just need to have a print of this in your mind. Okay. Once you have understood the things, it will become very, very easy. Okay. And as we go on further, you will see more examples, we'll see more sentences. So things will still become easier for you. But for now, just pause the video here and take a good look at this table for the moment. Okay. Now see, the next important thing about pronouns, these personal pronouns, is how they form their possessive adjectives and possessive pronouns. So the first and the most important thing is to understand, what does this word possessive mean? This word possessive, it shows possession, which means this thing belongs to me in some way. Okay, that is what it means. Okay, now how it works in this case of pronouns, let's see here. In case of first person, where we say I or we, the possessive adjective is my. and we forms the possessive adjective our, which is a plural form because we are talking about many here. Okay, while its possessive pronoun is mine and we forms ours. Okay, now how are they actually used in the sentences? Because many a times you will find the questions based on this concept in the exams, this concept of possessive adjective and possessive pronoun in the exams. Okay, so see these example sentences here. This is my house. Whose house? My house. Right? What is it? This is the possessive adjective at the moment. But if I say this house is mine, it becomes possessive pronoun here. Right? So actually the examiners, they try to find out, they give you the sentences and they try to find out whether you should fill my or mine in that particular sentence, right? They give you the errors based on this concept. Okay, similarly they give you the errors based on this concept for second person and third person also. So for second person, the subject is you. Now we know it very clearly, and when we try to form the possessive adjective, it becomes your, which works both in singular and plural form. Don't worry, you learn with the help of examples. Just keep following what I'm saying. Okay, the possessive pronoun here becomes yours. Now see this example. Your sunglasses look good. Whose sunglasses? Your sunglasses. Right? So possessive adjective here. These sunglasses are yours. Right? You see yours here. What is this? This is possessive pronoun. For the third person, he, she, it, they, these are the subjects. When you try to convert them into possessive adjectives, he forms his, she, her, it becomes its. Pay attention here. It becomes its. They become their, right? But when you try to form possessive pronouns, they become his, hers, its. It doesn't have a possessive pronoun, okay? And they forms theirs. See this example. His or her house is new, right? What is this? This is a possessive adjective at the moment. Whose house? Her house. This house is his or hers. This which means this house belongs to her. Okay. So this house is his or hers is what you say. So this is a possessive pronoun here. His stays the same because it already has one s at the end. You cannot just keep continuing with s, right? So it is just his. For he, it is just his. Okay. For now, what you can do is you can just pause the video here and take a good look at this table and the examples. When we solve the questions, things will become clear to you. Don't worry, as I have been saying. Okay. Fantastic. So now that you have seen the concepts related to personal pronouns, you must be wondering how these concepts will be actually tested in the exams. What type of questions can I expect? So you see, the first type of questions that you might find in the exams could be to test your understanding about whether you should be using the subjective case or the objective case of a personal pronoun in a particular sentence. Okay, this might be a fill in the blanks type of a question, or it could be a spot the error type of a question also. Okay, so in this particular slide, we'll see where you should be using the subjective case. Okay, we'll begin with some very easy sentences so things become clear to you. Okay, now the first sentence given to you here is, it is me who supports you in your game. What do you think? Is this sentence correct? It is me who supports you in your game. This sentence is actually wrong. What should you say? You should say, it is I who supports you in your game. What is the difference? The difference is this word. It is me here and it is I here. This is the only difference in the two sentences. Okay. Why? Because this me, it is the objective case, and this I, it is subjective case. Right? We have seen in the table, and if you don't remember, just see this table, small table on the side. I've gotten it here for you. So for the first person, the subject is I while the object is me. Now, how would you know where you should be using I, where should you be using me? Let me give you a very easy trick to deal with this. And the trick is this. The trick is, whenever you see these kind of words, see in your right hand corner, okay, right hand side. The trick is, whenever you see these words and they act as main verbs, is, am, are, was, were, be, been, being. Whenever these words act as the main verb, what would you do? You will use the subjective case. You will use the subjective case. Okay, let's see if it applies. Sentence number 2. It is him who runs this store. So you see, there is this word is and there is no other verb after this. There is no write, writing, like, liking, or any other verb. This is the main verb here in the sentence. Okay, so it is him who runs this store. So this sentence is actually wrong. Why? Because him is the objective case, and we have just learnt that after this main verb, when the main verb is, am, are, was, were, be, been, being, then what do? We use the subjective case. And what is the subjective case here? The subjective case here is he. Right? See the table. He is the subjective case here, and that is what we are using in the sentence. So this sentence is correct. It is he who runs this store. Okay. Sentence number 3. Let's test this once again. It was them who were making a noise. It was them who were making a noise. What do you think? Is this sentence correct or not? You see, here this is the word was, and this is acting as a main verb because there is no other verb after this. So this is the main verb it means. Okay. And we have just learnt that whenever these words act as the main verb, what do? We use the subjective case. Them is the objective case. Right? You see the table. Them is the objective case of third person. What should we do? We should replace it with the subjective case. Subjective case is what? For the third person it is they. Right? It was they who were making a noise is the right thing to say. I hope the things have become clear to you. Okay. Let's see how to deal with the objective case and where should you be using the objective case now. Fantastic. So now that we have seen the use of subjective case, let us see what are the cases where we should be using the objective case of these personal pronouns. And trust me, it is very, very interesting and very, very easy also. Okay. Let's see the first case here. The first case is if pronoun is used after the main verb. Okay. If there is no other helping verb, then in that case what you should do? You should be using the objective case of these personal pronouns. And what are these verbs? These are verbs we know. These means action verbs. And when there are no is, am, are, was, were type of words that we saw in the previous slide, then in that case it is the main verb because in the right. Let's see some examples. You will understand. Okay. This example number 1 here. The mother called him and her. Okay. So what is the action being taken here? The mother is calling these two people, right? So the mother called. This is the verb, and there is no is, am, are, was, were type of words that we saw in the previous slide. So it means that this is the main verb here, right? And we have the pronouns after this word. So which case should we be using? We should be using the objective case. We have just learned. So let us see what is the objective case for third person. Third person, let's see the table. It is him and her. Fantastic. This sentence is correct. It means the mother called him and her. Let's see the sentence number 2. She invited you and I to the party. Okay. So let us first of all check what is the main verb here. The main verb is invited because there is no is, am, are, was, were type of a word. Okay. It means this word is acting as the main verb. And in that case, what should happen? We should be using the objective case of the pronoun, right? So for second person, the objective case is what? You. So this means this is correct. And these two pronouns are joined using and. So this is also a pronoun. It means which case should it be? It should be the objective case. Objective case is what? Objective case of first person I see is it should be me here rather than I, right? Because I is the subjective case. You see the table. I is the subjective case, right? She invited you and me to the party. So as simple as that, both of them are objective case, and that is why we want she invited you and me to the party. Now this sentence is correct, right? See the second rule here. The second rule tells you that after the prepositions. So what are prepositions? Prepositions we know are words like in, on, at, to, from, under, right? These type of words that tell the position of something with respect to something else, right? So whenever you have the pronouns after the prepositions, they should be objective case in that case, right? Let's see the sentence. The boss demanded an explanation from him. Is this sentence correct or not? The boss demanded, this is the verb here, right? An explanation from. I see this word from, which is what? Which is a preposition. And after preposition, what should we have? We should have the objective case. And what is this the objective case? Him is it the objective case? I see third person. Okay. Now, yes, this is the objective case. So it means this sentence is grammatically correct. Absolutely right. Let's see sentence number 2. The teacher taught this lesson to you and me. The teacher taught this lesson to you and me. Now try to answer this question for yourself. Is this sentence correct or not? The teacher taught. Okay, this is the verb here. What is teacher doing? Teacher is teaching. So this is the action she is taking, right? This lesson, I see a preposition here too, right? You and me. What is the second person object? Okay, you. This is correct. And what is the first person personal pronoun object? It is me. Okay, fantastic. The teacher taught this lesson. Both of these are objects. These are object and this is also object. So this sentence is grammatically correct. Now try this one. The boss demanded an explanation from him and I. What is happening in this sentence? The boss is demanding. So this is the action verb, right? Action word. So this is the main verb here. The boss demanded an explanation, but I see a preposition here from, right? So it means I should have objective cases. This should be the objective case and the other one should also be the objective case. But is it the case? Him is the objective case? Yes, this is correct. I, no, it is not the objective case. It is the subjective case. So it should be him and me. Right? Now this sentence is correct. The boss demanded an explanation from him and me is what you should say. Right? I hope it is clear to you. And we'll see some exercises also so that these concepts get cemented in your mind. Okay? Now see, there's one more case where you should be using the objective case of these pronouns. And this case is case number 3. That is, when this word but means except in the sentence. In that case, you should be using the objective case of these pronouns. Okay? Let's see this example. Everyone came to the picnic but them. So you see, in this sentence, what's happening? There was a picnic. Everybody came to the picnic but, which means except here. Except them. And them is what? Them is the objective case. You can check this third person row. What is this? Them. This is the third person objective case, right? So I hope this clarifies if you have got any doubt on your mind. Okay. Now let us try these some sentences. The first sentence is, all the students have received the passes, but what should it be? I or me? Try to answer it for yourself. All the students have received the passes. So in this sentence, this word but means except, right? Everybody has received the passes except me, right? Why? Because me is the objective case here. Me is the objective case here. Okay. Second sentence, all the employees are available tomorrow, but you and what should it be? I or me? All the employees are available tomorrow. But means here except. Everybody is coming to the office except you. You is right here. Why? Because this is the objective case of second person. What should it be in the second blank? Should it be I or me? It should be me. Why? Because this is the objective case of first person, right? Third one. Nobody knows them here except dash, he or him. What should it be? Try to answer it for yourself again. Now, this is a bonus sentence. And there is a bonus clarification for you here in this sentence. Nobody knows them. You see, this is what? This is the main verb here, right? And we have learned that after the main verb, what should it be? It should be the objective case. So you see, although it is not a blank here, but this is the objective case here. Them, third person, right? So this is interesting here. Nobody knows them here except. Now except here means but. Except whom? Except third person, pronoun, objective case, him. Nobody knows them, them here except him is what you should say, right? I hope things are becoming clear to you, and see how easy this concept is. It is just a bit of practice, a bit of understanding that you require. Otherwise, if you are quite clear with your concepts, this chapter is pretty easy, okay? So now that we have learnt all these concepts, let's do this exercise. Exercise number 1. The first sentence here tells you, she stood before him and dash. What should it be? I or me? Try to answer it for yourself. She stood before him and dash. So what do I see here? I see she stood before. Okay, I see a preposition here. And I have learned that after the preposition, what should it be? It should be the objective case of the pronouns. Okay, personal pronouns. So him, okay, this is the objective case. And what should it be here? Again, it should be the objective case. And of the objective case of first person is me. So it should be you, him and me. Second sentence. The mother called dash and dash. The mother called dash and dash. Try to answer it for yourself again. So what do I see here? I see that, okay, what is the mother doing? The mother is calling. Okay, so this is the main verb. Why main verb? Because there is no is, am, are, was, were before it. Okay, so this is the main verb. And after the main verb, we directly, if we have to have the pronouns, we have the objective case. So you is the objective case here and me is the objective case here. So what should it be? It should be the mother called you and me is what it should be. Okay. Third one. It was dash who protected you and dash from the thieves. Right? It was dash. So I see, okay, I see is, am, are, was, were. This is the word. Okay. And it is working as a main verb here. So what should it be? It should be the subjective case in this case, and the subjective case is he. Right? So it was he who protected you and try to answer it for yourself. What do I see here? I see the verb here, protected, and after the verb directly, what should it be? You and me. Yes, you are right. It should be me. Both have to be the objective cases, right? Let's see the next sentence. I met a man, the fourth one. Okay, I met a man who claimed himself to be an acquaintance of dash, his or him. Of is what? It is a preposition I see here. And after the preposition, we have learnt it should be the objective case. And objective case is what? Objective case is him. Right? And the objective case is him here. So, acquaintance of him. Now see, this one. This is really interesting. And this is something that we do in our everyday life. Who is it? It's me. This is something we usually speak in our day-to-day lives. Okay. But what if I told you that if rather than it's me, it's I is the right thing to say. Usually while answering the phone calls, what do we say? Who is it? It's me. Right? But it should be it's I. But I can prove it with the concepts that we have just learned. Okay. This is it is. This it's mean. It is here. Right? So it is now after is. Is, am, are, was, were. What do we have? We have the subjective case. And what is the subjective case here? Subjective case is I. So it should be it's I. This is the right thing to say in such cases. Okay. Pay attention because this is really important. Not just for your exams but for your day-to-day life also. Okay. Now, one more concept that is very, very popular with the examiners and based on which they try to assess you in the exams is whether you know if you should be using the subjective case or the objective case while making comparisons. Which one of these should you be using? Okay, pretty easy, nothing difficult here. Just listen to everything that I'm saying very carefully. Okay, so now see, when you're making comparisons, you're always told that you can compare apples with apples only. You can compare oranges with oranges only, right? So you can compare a subject with a subject only. Similarly, you can compare an object with an object only, right? So subjective case can be compared only with subjective cases. Similarly, objective cases can be compared only with objective case, right? Very simple thing which you can easily understand and remember also. Now see this example sentence. And before I start with the example sentences, the comparisons are made using as and then usually, right? So these are the two words that you would find that they are trying to make the comparison using these two words, and they are trying to identify if you know the correct usage of subjective cases and objective cases for the purpose of these comparisons. Okay, let's see these examples now. She's as good as I, right? So there is a comparison between whom? Between she and I. She's as good as I. So you can see as here, right? The comparison is made using as I said. Okay. Now what is this? She is what? She is a subjective case, right? So it has to be compared with a subjective case only, right? So this I is also a subjective case, which means this sentence is correct. Now see this one. He is as intelligent as she. He is as intelligent as she, which means we are making the comparison here, right? And which are the two things we are comparing? This and this. We are comparing he and she here. These are the two people, right? He is what? It is the subjective case. She is what? She is also the subjective case. So which means that we are comparing subjective case with a subjective case, which makes this sentence correct, right? Now, based on this understanding, let's try to solve these sentences. He's more intelligent than dash, which means I'm having a comparison here. Than is used for comparison here. And which are the two things I'm comparing? He. I'm comparing he, and the blank has to be filled with she or her. So he is what? He is subjective case. So we need a subjective case, which is she. So he is more intelligent than she. Second sentence. His car is bigger than dash. Can you answer it for yourself? The options given are her car, hers, or her. What are the two things we are comparing? We are comparing his car and dash. So what should it be? It has to be the another car. We can compare a car with a car. So it has to be her car. But we have just learned that if we write her car, the sentence will become grammatically wrong because we will not be using the pronouns in that case correctly, right? So what is it? It should be hers. His car is bigger than hers. We just learnt this. Now see this third one. No other boy in this school is as obedient as dash. He, him, he is. What should it be? No other boy. This is being compared with somebody here. Okay, so this is the subject here. If this is the subject, no other boy in this school is as obedient as he. Right? Because this is what? This is the subjective case. Now see this fourth sentence. I care for you as much as dash. So the comparison is between you and dash. What should it be? There is a comparison, of course, because we have this as much as. Okay. I care for you as much as. You is what? You is the object here. Why? Because we already have a subject here. And you can be used both as a subject and an object, but here it is being used as an object, which means I will have an objective case here, which means I care for you as much as her, because this is objective case while she is subjective case. I hope you have understood this well, and it is pretty easy. If you are confused anywhere, you can just pause the video here and take a good look at this. Now see, there's one more rule related to personal pronouns based on which the questions are usually asked you in the exams. And this rule is regarding the sequence in which you should be using these personal pronouns. Okay, if you have got this first person, second person, third person pronouns, and what sequence you should be putting them in the sentence. And whatever I'm going to teach you here under this rule applies equally to subjective case, objective case, possessive adjectives and possessive pronouns, all of them. Okay, the first thing here is if there are three pronouns and all of them belong to different person, that is first person, second person, third person, for the pronouns for three different persons are there and it is a general sentence. Okay, the sequence has to be 2, 3, 1. It is 2, 31. This is the sequence that it should be. Okay, which means second person pronoun, third person pronoun, and then first person pronoun should be there. Okay, see this sentence. You, he and I should go to meet him. This is a general sentence, right? There is no confession, no guilt, no flaw, nothing pointed out here. Okay, this is a general sentence. So what is the sequence we have? The sequence we have is second person, third person and first person, and all of them have to be in the same case. All of them have to be objective case or subjective case. That also you have to pay attention to. Okay, so you, he and I should go to meet him is the sentence that we have written here. Okay, and the second rule here says if the sentence confesses a guilt or a flaw, if there is a confession in the sentence, then the sequence should be what? 1, 2, 3. That is first person, second person and third person, right? The sequence should be 123 in this case. Okay, just remember these two, 231 and 123. Okay, see this example sentence. I, you and he were punished that day. So there is a confession that there was a punishment given to us that day. Okay, so what is the sequence? First person I, you and he, third person. So this is the sequence that you should use. Okay, now based on this understanding, let's try to solve this exercise number 3. And there are 3 sentences given to you here. Try to identify which of these sentences is correct and which of them is wrong. Okay, let's see the first one. Me and he are friends. Okay, the general sentence. So which means the sequence has to be 231 for the pronouns. Okay, personal pronouns, which means it should be me and he. Okay, me is what? Me is first person and he is what? He is second person, which means I have to reverse, right? He is what? No, sorry. He is third person, which means I have to reverse. Okay, so it should be what? It should be he and me. Our friends is what I should write. Ideally, me and he are friends is what I should write. But see here, he is what? He is subjective case. Me is what? Me is objective case. No, this is not possible. Both of these have to be in the same case. So this also has to be subjective. He and I are friends is the right thing to say. So he and I are friends is what you should say here. Okay, now this becomes correct. The second one, she and you bunked off yesterday. Bunked off means you absented yourself from school or the college or the work, which means you are confessing a flaw, a guilt, or you are trying to point out to a flaw. Okay, so what is the sequence in this case that we have learned? It has to be 123, right? But she is what? She is 3 and you is what? You is 2, which means, and 1 it is absolutely missing. Whatever is missing, just let's forget that. But let us try to reverse the sequence in this case because it has to be 123. So what do we say? We have to say you and she bunked off yesterday, right? You is what? You is subjective case here. She is what? She is also subjective case, which is fine. Now see the third one. She has invited me and you to the party. General sentence, which means 231. Okay, 231 means what? The pronouns have to be in that order. The pronouns are what? The pronouns are, these two are the pronouns that we have to put in order, right? So it should be 231. Me is what? Me is 1, you is 2. I have to change it. I should make it you and me, right? She has invited you and me to the party, right? See, the mistake in first sentence is the first second sentence, sorry. The sequence is wrong. There is a mistake of sequence and there is a mistake of what? The mistake of case also. So you have to pay attention that you should not be applying the rule, just one rule. You have to apply everything that you have learned till now. You know, right? So you know the case also, you know the sequence also. So pay attention and answer accordingly. Okay, fantastic. So now the next category of pronouns that we are going to learn is reflexive pronouns. Now see, we have seen that the construction of a sentence is subject followed by a verb and then there is an object. But for a moment, just imagine what would happen if this object was not there. What does this object do? It receives the action that this subject sends out, right? But now this object is not at all there to receive this action. What is going to happen? Let's try to understand this with this example. Okay. Now let us suppose that this is I. Okay. It's I and I'm the subject here and I'm talking to this person. Okay. And this person becomes my object because he's the one to receive the action, right? I'm talking to him. So this is subject. I is the subject here and object is this person. Okay. Now in the second case, I'm talking to this group of people, right? So I am the subject here and this group of people, they become the object here, right? But now in this third case, I am the subject, but there is nobody to receive the action, right? What is going to happen in this case? In this case, it just means that whatever I'm saying to myself, right? And this myself is what? It is a reflexive pronoun because whatever you are saying is getting reflected to you, right? So these are reflexive pronouns. Whenever there is no object to receive the action comes back to you and the subject here is the object, right? And it is denoted by words like, come back to this table now. In the singular form, we know it is my, your, her, him. And when you attach self to it, it becomes myself, yourself, herself, himself, right? So in the singular form, the reflexive pronouns used are these, right? In the plural form, what do we have? We have words like our, your, them. And since they are plural, I'm adding selves to them, right? So ourselves, yourselves, themselves, right? I hope this clarifies your understanding about reflexive pronouns. Now let's see some examples here. She hurt, but whom? There was nobody else to receive the action. So she hurt herself, right? Whatever action she was sending out, she sent out to herself. So herself, she's the object herself. She's the subject and the object both. They cheated themselves. There was nobody else to cheat. So they cheated themselves. Whatever actions they did, they fell back upon themselves. We helped ourselves. You are playing by yourself, right? So these are some of the examples to understand the reflexive pronouns. Now let us see how this thing is actually asked to you in the exams. Okay, great. So now that you know what reflexive pronouns are, let us see some verbs that take reflexive pronouns with them, right? We know that verbs take objects with them. It is prepositions that take objects with them, and the basic construction of a sentence is subject plus verb plus object, right? But whenever this object is not there, it means there has to be a reflexive pronoun. Okay. Now what I'm doing next is I have gotten a list of these important words. These all are verbs, okay, that take reflexive pronouns with them. So whenever you find a sentence where you see a subject, you see one of these verbs, but you don't see an object, simply fill a reflexive pronoun there. Okay. This list is very, very important because these are the words that are usually examiners' favorite. Okay. Let us see some example sentences. You'll understand this better. They helped themselves to the food on the table. There was nobody else, right? They were at a party, so they helped themselves, right? They were not serving the food to anybody else, right? So they helped themselves is the pronoun that we are using here. And you see this verb help, it appears here in the list, right? The second sentence is, I'll behave myself in front of the relatives. So now you see this word behave. This is again very, very important. Okay. And you see this word occurs in the list here. Behave. Okay. And there is nobody else. So I am the subject myself. That is why I'll behave myself in front of the relatives. Okay. Try these sentences. The first one is, she introduced herself to the manager, right? It could have been she introduced the topic to the manager, but now there is no object. If this object is not there, then whom would she introduce? She introduced herself in that case, right? It simply means that. You see this word introduce, it also occurs in the list. Okay. The second one, they amused themselves by playing cards on the train. Okay. Amused, this word is also there in the list, and if there is nobody else, it means they are the ones to receive the action themselves, right? So what is the object? What is the pronoun to be used here? It is themselves, right? The third one, we encourage ourselves to learn something new continuously, right? We encourage our children, we encourage the students. Had it been that, then the children or the students, they would be the subject. But when there is nothing else, it means we are the object ourselves, right? It means we encourage whom? We encourage ourselves to learn new things continuously. Okay. So I hope this clarifies any of your doubts that you may have on reflexive pronouns. Just ensure that you are pretty clear with this list of important verbs that you may find in the exams. Okay. So for this, what you can do is you can just pause the video here and you can take a list of these verbs that I have given to you. You can take a note of this list. Okay. Now the next category of pronouns that's important for your exams is distributive pronouns. So first of all, it is important to understand what do you mean by distributive pronouns. Okay. So see, whenever you have got a lot of things together, okay, you usually talk about them collectively. Okay. And you try to say that the verb has a collective effect on all of these things, the same effect on all of these things. But the distributive pronoun says that whatever action the verb is sending out is having a separate impact on all of these things, right? So it distributes the action of the verb on all of these things separately, individually. Okay. The words that are used as distributive pronouns are each, either, and neither. Okay. And they are important from the exam point of view also. So the first word, each, this is used to tell you the effect of the verb to distribute the action on two or more than two things. Okay. Similarly, either, it is used for only two persons or things. If there are more than two persons or two things, then we use anyone. We'll see the examples. Don't worry. For now, just see what I'm telling you. Neither, it is again used for only two things. Pay attention. Either and neither, they are used for only two things or two persons. If it is more than two things or two persons, then it is each that you have to use. Okay. If there are more than two persons, in case of either or neither, the words to be used are anyone and none. Okay. You can pause the video. You can read this much part of the content and then we'll move forward. Okay. Example number 1 here tells you each of the two girls worked hard, right? So there were two girls and the example is trying to tell you, the sentence is trying to tell you that each of these two girls, There were 2 girls. We can use each for 2 or more than 2 things. So this is fine. It means each of them worked hard, right? Each of the 5 seats was occupied. So you see there were 5 seats and the sentence is trying to tell you, it is not trying to talk to you collectively about all these seats, right? It is trying to tell you that each of these seats were occupied. So it is trying to distribute the action, you see. Okay. Similarly, either of the 2 bottles contains water, right? There are 2 bottles and we can use either only for 2 things or 2 people, right? And it is trying to tell you that either of these 2 bottles contains water. Either this has water or this has water, right? Both of them do not have the water. It is one of these bottles that contains the water, right? Similarly, neither of the 2 bottles contains water. It means again we have 2 things and neither is used for 2 things or 2 people, and the sentence is trying to tell you that okay, this is one bottle, this is second bottle, and this bottle doesn't have water, this bottle also doesn't have water, right? None of them contains the water. Okay, and since it is 2 things, we can use neither. Neither of the 2 bottles contains water, right? Now see these sentences, these 2 sentences, and try to find out the mistake in them. Either of the 5 bottles contains water. Does the sentence make sense to you? What is the sentence trying to tell you first of all? The sentence is trying to tell you that there are 5 bottles, right? And one of them has got water in it, right? But the sentence is wrong. Why? Because 5 bottles is what we are talking about. And we know that either is used for 2 things or 2 persons, right? So what do we do in this case? You would think, let us write each. Each of the 5 bottles contains water because each can be used for 2 or more than 2 things. So let us write each, but just try to see. Earlier we were saying, the original sentence was trying to tell you that one of the 2 bottles, one of these 5 bottles has water, which means maybe this bottle has water. But now if I write each, the sentence would be each of the 5 bottles. Now this also has water, this also has water, this, all of them have water now. The meaning of the sentence has changed altogether, right? So we cannot use either because 2 things, it is more than 2 things, and we cannot use each also because the meaning of the sentence is changing. So what do? We would simply write any one of the 5 bottles contains water. Now the meaning of the sentence has also not changed. It is still the same, right? There are 5 bottles and one of them has water. Any one of these bottles has got water in it, right? Similarly, on the same lines, try to check this sentence, the second one. Neither of the 5 bottles contains water, right? Neither of the 5 bottles contains water, which means none of these bottles has the water. Okay, I've given you the answer already. So more than 5, so none. None of the 5 bottles contains water. I hope this has become clear to you. Pretty easy. There's nothing difficult here at all. You can just try to pause the video, take a good look at this slide, and if required, you can replay this much part of the video. And one of the very important characteristics of the students who succeed in their exams is that they take notes. They don't just depend upon the PDFs, because when you write the notes with your own hand, it actually makes an imprint in your mind, and that is what you are trying to do. You are not trying to do just the hard work, you are trying to do the smart work, right? So make use of all the senses that are given to you. You make use of your hand to write the notes, make use of your eyes to listen to see whatever I am saying, writing here, make use of your listening capacity so that you are able to use this sense of hearing, and then along with that make use of your mind. Coordinate your hands and mind, right? And how can you do that? You can do that by taking the notes. So make sure that you take the notes along with me. That is going to make you successful in your exams. Okay? Great. Let's quickly do this exercise. based on distributive pronouns. Okay, there were 5 trees dash with healthy green leaves. I have marked the answers in red for you. Okay, just you can quickly fill them for yourselves wherever the need is. I'll try to explain the things to you. Okay, there were 5 trees, so each. Okay, neither of the 10 investors present showed the interest in this project. Neither for 2 things or people, so not neither, it should be none. There are 2 cakes on the table. You can eat anyone or either. 2 cakes, so either. Either of the 5 students. Okay, 5 students, which means this either is wrong here. It means any one. Okay, now see this 5th sentence specially. None of her parents talked to her. Okay, now the sense of 2 is implicit here, because how many parents do we have? We have 2, our mother and father. Okay, so not none, it should be neither. Okay, neither of her parents talked to her. Okay, so I hope this exercise is something very easy for you now. There's nothing difficult as such. Let's move on to the next concept. Okay, now the next variety of pronouns that we are going to discuss is indefinite pronouns. And as the word itself suggests you, indefinite means not something very specific. So these are the pronouns that do not talk about something very specific. Okay, and the words that are used as indefinite pronouns are no one, anyone, someone, everyone. So you can see we are talking about living things here, right? And these words can also be replaced with nobody, anybody, somebody, everybody. So these are used for living things, right? And what are the pronouns that we use for living things? We use he, she, him, her, right? This is what we use for human beings. And when the things are non-living, we use nothing, anything, something, everything. And what's the pronoun we use for them? We use it, its, itself, right? These are the pronouns we use for non-living things. Now the thing to understand here is that all of these pronouns, they behave as singulars. Now since they behave as singulars, it means that they take singular verbs with them, and they also take singular pronouns with them, right? So the pronouns that you need to use here should be like him, his, she. That means singular things. Okay, see these examples, things will become clear to you. Someone came into the room to find dash bag. Should it be their bag or his bag? In our day-to-day language, we usually say their bag, we would say. Okay, but we have seen that these indefinite pronouns, someone, it should take a singular pronoun with it, right? So it should be his bag. Someone came into the room to find his bag. Similarly, everyone was advised to keep the information to themselves. This is something we would generally say in our day-to-day life, right? But the right thing to say here is everyone was advised to keep the information to himself. Why himself, not herself? Because this is a patriarchal society. Okay, whenever there is no choice given to you, choose the masculine gender, right? Okay, so try to answer these 2 sentences to ensure that you have understood whatever we have learned. Everyone should care for dash family, his, her, their. Now we know that everyone, okay, this is an indefinite pronoun and it takes a singular pronoun with it. Okay, so everyone should care for his family, right? Why? Because this is a patriarchal society, I said, right? So in this case, for his family. Okay, if this option was not given to you at all, then it would be her family. Okay, the second one, the manager asked if anyone has lost. No choice given to you, singular pronoun required. The manager asked if anyone has lost his password. See, pretty simple, nothing difficult at all. We have to give up the habit that we have of using the plural pronouns, right? Okay, now the next variety of pronouns that we need to study is reciprocal pronouns, right? In reflexive pronouns, what was happening? There was only the subject, and whatever action they were sending out, it was reflecting back to them. right? But here in this case of reciprocal pronouns, what is happening is there are two things here, okay? This is sending out an action and this other party is also sending out the same action to them. So they are actually reciprocating. What are they doing? They are reciprocating, right? And that is how reciprocal pronouns are different from reflexive, right? You have to, this is the first thing that you need to understand. These are not the same things. These are two different things, okay? Now the words that are used as reciprocal pronouns are each other and one another, okay? These are the things that are that you are going to find most commonly in the exams, okay? Now let us see some example sentences. Things will become clear to you, okay? Each other is mostly used when there are two things involved, right? One party here, one party here. But when there are more than two things, right, we use one another. Let's see how. I helped him, he helped me. Okay, this is a sentence that is given to you. But does this sentence look correct to you? I helped him, he helped me. Too much of repetition. Can we write this sentence in a better way? Yes, we can. We helped each other, right? I helped him, he helped me. So whatever action I sent out, he also sent out the same action towards me. Okay, so we helped each other because there are two people involved here, two things here. They invited us, we invited them, right? So they, us, they invited us, we invited them. We reciprocated each other's actions, right? So one another in that case. We invited one another. Okay. Now both these reciprocal pronouns, each other and one another, they have got their possessive forms also. And the possessive form is each other's, one another's. Okay. See these sentences. They promised to take care of each other's children, right? They promised. So this person and this person, they promised to take care of each other's children because the children belong to them, right? We are trying to show the belongingness of the children. Okay. Similarly, this second sentence, the group of members trusted one another actions. One another's actions. The group of members trusted one another's actions because there are more than two things. And the actions apostrophe S because we are trying to show that these actions are owned by those people, right? They belong to them. I hope this has clarified your understanding about reciprocal pronouns. Okay, so now the sixth and the last category of pronouns that we are going to learn in today's video is relative pronouns. This category is very, very important for your placement tests and entrance exams both. Okay, and this is one category that confuses a lot of students. The words that fall under this category and are important from the point of view of our exams are who, whom, which, that. Okay, the examiners, they try to test you whether you know where you should be using who and where should you be using whom. Similarly, they also try to test you if you are aware of the correct usage of the words which and that as relative pronouns. Okay, so we are going to clarify all of this one by one. Okay, the first thing to know here is, since we can see this is relative pronoun, it means that it relates to some noun or pronoun that comes just before it. It means it is trying to relate to some noun or pronoun. That is why it is called as relative pronoun. Okay. And another thing that's really important is that these pronouns, they are used to connect to sentences. What do? They connect to sentences. Okay. So that is what the relative pronouns are. Let's start with who and whom first. Okay. These are the two words that are often asked in the exams and they confuse a lot of students. This word who, it is used as a subject. Okay, this is the first thing to know here. And this word whom, it is used as an object in the sentence. Okay, and at the moment I'm focusing on the first word, that is who. This word who is used as an interrogative pronoun also and it is used as a relative pronoun also. How will I identify? Read this sentence. Who is she? Is this a question that I'm asking? Yes, this is a question. How do I know? There's a question mark at the end. So here it means it is working as an interrogative pronoun, right? Who is working as an interrogative pronoun here. But read the second sentence. He is the boy who stood first in the class. Is this a question? No. How do I know? There's no question mark at the end, right? So he is the boy who is working as a relative pronoun here. Relative of its noun. Relative of the noun that comes just before it. Okay. So he is the boy who stood first in the class. So it is relating to its noun here. Okay. That is why it is a relative pronoun. See how easy it is to remember now. See this example sentence. Where should you use who? Okay. The doctor, let's say this is a blank here and you are supposed to fill who or whom. The doctor dash treated me is an Indian. What should you fill? Who or whom? Try to answer it for yourself. Now see, I'll give you a very easy trick to identify this. So if the answer to your question comes out to be he, she, I, we, they, when you ask the question, who did this? Who was he? If your answer comes out to be he did this, it was he, okay? In that case, what would you do? You would use the subjective case because these are what? These are the subjective cases of pronouns. So you will use a subject, right? That is who. This is the first thing to know. The second thing to know here is when there is a blank and there is a verb immediately following it. When there is a verb immediately following it, it has to be filled with who. Okay, this is the second trick. Let's see if we are able to apply these tricks in this sentence. The doctor that treated me is an Indian. Who is the doctor who treated you? Who was the doctor who treated you? What was the nationality of the doctor who treated you? He. He is an Indian. So my answer is coming out to be he or she. It means who. So my first trick applies here, right? Let's try if the second trick also applies. Is there a blank? Yes, this is a blank. And is there a verb after it? Yes, there is a verb after it. How? This treated. It's a verb, right? So what should happen? It should be who, right? Try to apply this in the second sentence now. Mona is a teacher who or whom helps her students in need. Who is Mona? Mona is a teacher. Who helps the students in need? Teacher helps the students in need. She helps the students in need. Okay. So answer is she, right? Second trick. Helps is a verb just after the blank. Helps is a verb. So what should fill this blank? Who should fill this blank, right? It is who that should come in this blank. Mona is a teacher who helps her students in need. Pretty simple, pretty easy. There's nothing difficult at all here. If you are confused, you can just pause the video here, take a good look at this slide, and if you need, you can replay this much part of the video. It will help, okay? Let us ensure that we have understood everything clearly. And to do that, let's do this exercise. Very simple exercise. Try to answer the questions for yourself, okay? The first one. He is an employee dash is intelligent and loyal. There's a blank which has to be filled with who or whom, okay? Let's start. I see a noun here, okay? I see a noun. Is there a verb after the blank? Yes, there is a verb after the blank. What should come here? Who, right? He is an employee who is intelligent and loyal. Sentence number 2. He is an employee, very similar to the first one, just a minor difference here, okay? But I have gotten it here purposely for you. Here is an employee dash, I believe is intelligent and loyal. Okay, I see a noun, okay, there is a blank, fantastic, but I see there is no verb immediately after the blank. It is, rather than that, it is I believe. Okay, what should I do here? Should I fill who or whom? Let's understand this. Now see, this I, what is this? This is a pronoun, okay, and it is a subject, subjective case. Believe is what? Believe is a verb. Now, what does a subject need? It needs verb. And what does a verb need? It needs subject, right? So they actually complement each other and this gets cancelled out. Now see, when this gets cancelled out, what do you have immediately after it? Okay, is. This is again a verb. What is happening here? He is an employee. My sentence again becomes similar to the first one now. He is an employee who is intelligent and loyal, because this is getting cancelled out. This is able to complement, these two words are able to complement each other. They are able to fulfill each other's requirements. Okay, if you need, you can pause the video and take a good look at these two sentences, or if you need, you can just replay this much part of the video again. Okay, the third one, here is a player, pretty similar to the second sentence. Here is a player dash they think is fit to be the next captain. Okay, so do I see a noun? Yes, I see a noun here. There is a blank here, but again I see after the blank it is they think, but this they is what? This is subject, this is verb. They are able to complement each other. Okay, they fulfill each other's requirements, so they get cancelled out. What do I have immediately after it? Again a verb. So okay, my condition is getting fulfilled here. He is a player who is fit to be the next captain. The fourth one, to dash should I address this letter? Now this is interesting and I have purposely gotten it here for you. Okay, to whom should I address this letter? Okay, not who. Why? Because, answer the question, who should I address this letter to? We learnt in the tricks, right? Who should I address this letter to? Address this letter to him or her. What is the answer of the question? Him or her, right? So in that case we learnt we should use whom. Okay, there are some more things that we need to learn that will make the things easier for you, because till now the sentences were pretty, they were not that lengthy, but in exams, actual exams, the sentences that you get are pretty lengthy. How to deal with them? Let's learn. For that we need to know how to use, where to use whom. Okay, and that is the next thing we are going to learn here. Fantastic. So let's learn to deal with whom now. Which are the places where you should be using whom? Okay, so the first thing that we already know is who is used as a subject, right? And whom is used as an object. We have already seen in the previous slides. Okay, now the next thing that we know is a verb is always followed by an object. Okay, this is the first thing that you have to remember. We already know this, you have to remember this. The second thing we know is prepositions. Prepositions, they are always followed by objects, right? Third thing, subject and verb, they come together. A subject has to have a verb and a verb has to have a subject to make sense, to make a sentence. Okay, now these are the three things which are going to help you solve these questions very, very easily. Okay, the first one, to dash are you talking? There's a blank here, try to answer it for yourself. To whom are you talking or to who are you talking? What would you say? Now see, to is what? To is a preposition. So what should come here? We require an object, right? We saw in the second point just now. We require an object. Which of these is an object? This is a subject. Whom is an object. So what should come here? It should be whom, right? To whom are you talking is what you should say. Second one, I met a girl dash I had seen long back at a party. Okay, let's start. I met a girl. Okay, I see what? I see a verb here. Okay, and which is the other verb? I had seen. Okay, this is a verb here. Long back at a party, no other verb. So does this first verb, does it have a subject? Yes, it has a subject. Okay, so this gets cancelled. Now this verb, second verb, had seen, does it have a subject? Yes, it has a subject. It is I, right? So this gets cancelled. Now, since there is no other verb, why do we require another subject? That is the question you should ask yourself. There is no other verb. We don't require a subject, it means. It means what do we require? We require whom here. We do not require subject. So who will not come here. It will be whom. Okay. The third one. I found a friend dash I could trust with anything. Let's try to identify the verbs here. Found, verb here. I could trust. Okay. Verb here. Does each of them have a subject? This is the subject. Okay. This gets cancelled because they are able to satisfy each other's requirement. found, does it have a subject? I, okay, yes, they get cancelled because they are able to satisfy each other's requirement. There is no other verb in the sentence, so I do not require another subject. Since there is no verb, I don't require another subject. I require an object, right? And which of these is an object? Whom is an object here. So which of these will fill up this blank? Whom. I found a friend whom I could trust with anything. The fourth one. The minister interviewed 2 officers dash he thought were fit for the position. Okay, let's try to answer this. Verbs. Let us first identify the verbs. Interviewed. Fantastic. Verb. He thought. Thought. Okay. Verb. Were fit. Okay. Verb. Okay. Now, do all of them have a subject? Let's try to identify. The minister interviewed. Okay, so the minister is the subject here. The requirements gets met and okay, so we do not require anything here. Subject verb agreement is done here. He thought. Okay, he is the subject here. He thought. Okay, so subject verb, they are there for each other. One more verb, but do we have a subject? No, because these 2 officers, the minister interviewed 2 officers. These are object. These are not subject. Okay, so we require a subject here. What is the subject? Subject is who. So it should be who here. Okay. Coming to the last sentence, I saw an old lady dash I thought was your grandmother. So what do? We start identifying the verbs. Okay. Saw, verb, thought, verb, was, verb. Okay. Does this first verb have a subject with it? Yes, I saw. I is the subject, so this requirement gets met. I thought, this subject, requirement gets met. Okay, was. Okay, do we have a subject for this verb? No, I don't see a subject for this verb because this old lady, it is an object. Okay, I saw an old lady. This is an object. So we require a what? We require a subject. Subject is what? Subject is who. So simply just fill up who here. Okay. I saw an old lady who I thought was your grandmother. So see, using these simple rules, how easy it is to solve these type of questions. Don't get confused. It is very, very easy. You just require a bit of practice. Okay. Now, one more relative pronoun that is really important from the point of view of your entrance exams and placement tests is that. Okay. Now, this relative pronoun that, it can be used for living things and it can be used for non-living things also. And there are certain cases where you have to use only that. You cannot use which, who, whom. Okay. And these are the cases that I have listed for you here. When you have only, none, something, nothing, the few, the little, the same, or any superlative degree in the sentence, then you use the relative pronoun that. Okay, so see this first example. This is the tallest tower which this city has. Which or that? Actually, that is the right thing to say here. Why? Because I can use which, but I see that tallest. This is what? This is the superlative degree. Tall, taller, tallest. So this is, sorry, this should be, this is the tallest tower that this city has is what you should say. Similarly, see this example number 2. She gave me the little water which she had or that she had. Which of these should be here? It should be that she had. Why? Because I see the little which comes from here. I have this in the list. Okay. She gave me the little water that she had is the right thing to say. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, and finally the last thing from this chapter based on which the questions are asked to you in the exams. And it is one, one's, oneself. Okay, we know this can be similar to he, right, his and himself. If you try to relate, you will be able to understand it more easily. Okay, so this can be used both as a, one can be used both as a subject and an object, and it is used in the singular form. It is used as a singular. Okay. One's, it shows possession, right? Oneself is reflexive. Okay. So see these sentences. One should care for dash family. Try to answer this question for yourself. One should care for one's family, right? One should help dash himself or oneself. We have a reflexive pronoun for one. So oneself. If one is determined, dash can surely change dash lifestyle. if one is determined, one can surely change one's lifestyle, right? She has finally come to understand that one is always known for his or one's deeds. Which of these is the right one to say? She has finally come to understand that one is always known for one's deeds, right? I hope these things are clear to you. It's not difficult. All that you require is the practice. So for practice, we are going to get you a video on spot the error and fill in the blanks type of questions based on the pronouns. These will be the questions that are usually asked to you in the exams, be it entrance exams or your placement test. Okay. And I sincerely hope that whatever we have learned today in this video is going to be useful to you in your placement test and your entrance exams also. If you have found this video useful, do give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And to stay updated with more videos on verbal ability, you know what do you have to do? You have to subscribe to the channel. So I'll see you very soon with a new video. Till then, bye-bye and take care. Stay connected.